Hi, I'm Steve Rowe, Executive Director. I'm recording this message the morning of Friday, April 28th, I believe, this will be uploaded and available to you later today. I want to start by thanking the Oak Notes Choir for the concert last night. It was absolutely fantastic in another packed house. April and I were squeezed into the far back corner, but it was just a great show. So thank you to all of our choir members and to Megan for leading the effort there. And I thought the most beautiful thing was at the end when all of us were singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. It was just absolutely fantastic. So thanks to everybody who was either a participant last night or an audience member. It was a great event. Kim shared with you last week that we had 8 residents at that time who were positive for COVID, and we're happy to report that we're actually down to only 2 at this point. There have been no new resident cases since Kim recorded last week, and the last 2 will come out of quarantine here over the next couple of days. So haven't had any new cases with staff members or residents that we are aware of, so things are trending in the right direction from a COVID perspective. She also talked about a New York Times article and the recommendation from the CDC on another booster for anyone that was age 65 or older or with a compromised immune system. And yesterday we were able to have a clinic for our health center and assisted living residents. So anybody in the licensed areas, we were able to do a booster shot for everyone in those areas. Kim is still working on trying to find a pharmacy that will come in and do a booster clinic for all of our independent living people. So that is still in process. We have not yet been successful in getting somebody to agree to come here with a whole bunch of doses to do a clinic at Oak Knoll, but we'll continue to work on that. In the meantime, if you feel like you should get a booster dose, the local pharmacies do have it, and Hardig Drug is asking you to make an appointment via phone. The phone number for Hardig is 319-338-5778, and you can call Hardig, schedule an appointment to get that booster. Hy-Vee is also encouraging people to make appointments, but they are doing that online. So if you go onto Hy-Vee's website and look for their pharmacy, you should be able to schedule an appointment for the booster dose for that. So also want to share or thank everybody for sharing feedback with me about the message I recorded a couple of weeks ago as I kind of recalled some of the earlier days of COVID, what things were like back in 2020, and just a good reminder that we should continue to be grateful for so many things in our lives and so many things that we weren't able to do in the first year and a half of COVID. So and that kind of circles back to the concert last night we wouldn't have been able to do that in 2020 or early 2021. So again, thanks to the Oak Notes Choir. I don't have much new information to share about the proposed building projects at this point. The rezoning request for the proposed addition at the East Campus went through Planning and Zoning, as I reported a couple of weeks ago. It was on the consent agenda for the City Council meeting to schedule a public hearing. That was on April 18th. So it really wasn't even talked about then. It was just scheduled. And next Tuesday, May 2nd, we will be on the City Council agenda with that rezoning request that would allow us to potentially move forward with that building. I've always talked about the city process being one of the hurdles that we need to clear, and the other being the financing and figuring out a way to pay for the project in a way that is fiscally responsible. And we are still working on that piece of it. So we will continue to do that, and when we have something that we can share with our board of directors, we'll do that, and I will continue to keep you informed. On the main campus redevelopment, kind of similar approach, where there are things that we need to have the city say yes to in terms of what we would like to do with the main campus redevelopment, and then also figure out the financing. We have submitted informally to the city staff a couple of different times now, and most recently on Tuesday this week I was down at City Hall along with our architect and engineers from Axiom, and we talked with city staff about the current version of the design for the main campus redevelopment, and the staff members were particularly interested in building height and parking. So we spent quite a bit of time talking about that. We will incorporate their feedback from this second informal submission and continue to tweak that until we get that to a point where city staff indicates to us that this is a project that they can support, and at that point we will make a formal submission and go through the rezoning process, similar to what we're doing with the proposed addition at East. So that's the staff, the city approval piece of it, and again we continue to work on trying to figure out a financial model, and it is a challenge right now because of really high construction costs in 2023, and also the interest rate environment is pretty challenging as well. So we need to get both city approval and a financing package that makes sense before we can move forward with any of the projects. So we're just continuing to work through those details and trying to figure it out, and we will keep you updated as we have progress there. Last thing I'm going to talk about is something that's personal to me. A few months ago, I had asked the executive committee of our board of directors to consider a title change for me. So I have been executive director for 6.5 years. Pat Hayden was executive director for more than 20 years before me, and before Pat, Felicia Hope was executive director. So the lead role at Oak Knoll for the last probably 40 some years at least has been called executive director. As I am at conferences or events across the state, or it's like in Denver last fall for a national conference, the executive director title most typically these days is used in very large organizations where they have a corporate office somewhere and then they have communities across many states. So they might have 50 communities or 100 communities, and the person leading the one site is called executive director. It is very common for my peers in the state of Iowa, and many of whom serve fewer residents within their communities, to be called either president or CEO, or president and CEO, or some combination. So I had asked our board, or the executive committee of our board, several months ago to consider that, and we actually ended up forming an ad hoc committee that looked at the bylaws for Oak Knoll, for how our board of directors operates, because within the bylaws the executive director title is in that document probably 15 times. So we just finished that work, and at the board meeting Wednesday morning, the proposed revisions to our bylaws did get approved by the full board, and that is essentially going to change my title from executive director to chief executive officer, or CEO. So many of you have already called me CEO. It hasn't been my title up until Wednesday morning, but it is now my title, and I just wanted you to hear that from me directly before you saw the sign outside my door change, or my name tag change. So we're in process of starting that, and it's going to take me a while to get used to. It's like I've got 6.5 years of habit introducing myself as executive director, and CEO sounds a little strange to me right now. but it is where we will be heading. So just wanted to let you know that, and that's pretty much all I have for this morning. I hope you're all doing well, and we will talk with you again in a couple of weeks. Take care.